Nice.
Nice.
It's a comparison, but it's direct. There's no use of the simple terms like or as prepositions. If as is used as a, now this is getting a little technical, if as is used as a introduction to a subordinate clause, and the items are different, then that becomes an analogy. Like you say, one who's unaffected by sinful reaction, as a lotus leaf is untouched by water. And that's not simile. It has to be just the object of a preposition as. Okay. Right? You are sweet as sugar. You get the difference?
Yes.
But if you have a verb in there,
You're sweet.
as a lotus leaf is, then it's an analogy. These are subtle things. Okay.
Analogy was different? Analogy?
An analogy is a whole clause, but it's as or like if they're just prepositions. Like Krishna's smile is as sweet as nectar. As is just a preposition, and nectar is the comparison with his what?
Smile.
But if I say, we'll give the example of the analogy of, as a lamp in a windless place does not waver. That's a whole sentence, right?
Yeah.
As a lamp in a windless place does not waver. So the mind of this realized soul is fixed. So now you're comparing the mind of the realized soul with the lamp in a windless place, not wavering. So in that case, that's what? Analogy. You're getting a comparison of two distinctly different things. All of these compare different things, right? But they're subtle. Metaphor, direct. We're not saying the mind is the lamp, right? Here we're saying nectar. From you are nectar. Bhagavatam is nectar. It's fruit. It's jewels. It's vision. It's a direct comparison. There's no like or as even. It's very strong. It's meant to be strong. It's stronger. But if you say, just remember King Nabi, he said, I want a son like Krishna. He didn't say, I want Krishna.
Yeah.
It would have been more direct, wouldn't it? Yeah, so you see, like sort of modifies it a bit, or as. But if you have a whole long sentence and you're comparing two different things, it becomes analogy. And you'll start to see this in our poetic skills from our acharyas. Vishwanath Chakrabarti, Vishwanath Kaviraj, Rupa Goswami, the rains of nectar. Sanatana Goswami, this is not beautiful? Right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And you hear our really elevated speakers when they're giving classes. They're poetic. They're very poetic. They have knowledge, but they know how to make it graceful, beautiful, refined. So here, and there's one more we're going to be talking about. This is a very long comparison. Even longer. It's called allegory. Have you heard of that word before? Allegory. There is one big one in the Bhagavatam. It's over 3 chapters, 4. And that's the story of Kipurangani. And it even says in the final sloka, when Prachina Bhari is talking to Narada, he said, please explain this again. I didn't understand your allegorical explanation. Allegory is very long. Chapters. Chapters. So now we have the direct one, metaphor, and then the comparison to be like or as, simile, and then we have analogy. We're comparing things, but now there's more description of the common features that we have. And the big one is what?
Allegory.
Allegory. So be aware of these things, because when you are, you will taste the nectar. You will taste the nectar. It is nectar that the way they write. You taste it. It's there. Okay? So here, now as you're reading, start to look for this. Is my writer giving me an analogy? Is he giving me an allegory? Allegories, I gotta miss that one. That's chapters long. And that's not so common. Is he giving me an analogy? Is he giving me a simile? Is he giving me metaphors? Okay? So now you repeat, O Srimad Bhagavatam.
O Srimad Bhagavatam.
I offer my respectful obeisances.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
By reading you,
one
one attains transcendental bliss.
One attains transcendental place.
For your syllables ring.
For your syllables ring.
Your love of Krishna.
Your love of Krishna.
Upon the reader.
Upon the reader.
You are always to be served by everyone.
You are always to be served by everyone.
For you are a most merciful incarnation.
For you are a most merciful incarnation
of Shri Krishna.
of Shri Krishna.
And again, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to be bringing in more points that I've been meditating on for the two weeks from today. We have to do our program. And then I just want to see how well you understand them, because you're already accustomed to this program, but others are not. So you're sort of our trial people here. My experience is that we are blessed in a way to have books. In ancient times, Vedic times, they had strong memories, right? So they could sit and they could hear. And here we see that the Bhagavatam is an incarnation. Now there's one advantage, perhaps, of recorded sound in the form of a book or literature, right? That means you can experience it at your will, right? If I have this paper and I'm able to read it, I'm there. It's again. But the sages, they sat, and once they heard it, that was it. Okay? They couldn't recreate it, but they remembered it. But somebody who wasn't there didn't have an opportunity. So do you see how merciful it is that we have the volumes of books that Prabhupada has created? Because all you have to do is open them. And you're recreating the experience. It's absolute. Does everybody follow the beauty of the written word? The words that we have are nothing more than recorded sound. This is Shravanam. This is hearing. And you can hear it when you open the book. In those days they spoke. But when the time came, like Vyasadeva, they put it in writing. So the two are the same. Reading and what? Hearing. And speaking and writing. And Prabhupada says, Shravanam is hearing, and Kirtanam is speaking. Right? Shravanam, Kirtanam. That's what we're doing. And what does that bring? Vishnu Swaranam. Because Prabhupada said, if you're not hearing, there will be no remembrance of Krishna. That's why we have to regularly do it. We have to regularly do this because we have to remember Krishna how much? Always. I never forget him. So by hearing and repeating, we are what? Remembering. And this is the goal of spiritual life. Always remember Krishna and remember Krishna. The moment you don't remember him, guess what?
You forget.
Things start to become difficult. And this is the beauty of the simple process of healing and remembering a change. Then immediately the material energy lets loose. She has her grip on everybody. But if you're hearing and repeating and remembering, that's slowly. You'll see. How many of you've all talked about that? You've experienced this. And I can give you one example that I know a particular devotee that's been attending the classes in VIG. And before that devotee was really having a hard time with relating with devotees. After a few months, the person's almost like a piece of cake. That's the power. In fact, it's like I've been asking, is this the same person? See, Bhagavatam makes people sweet. Right? It's amazing, isn't it? Makes people sweet. So who but someone who was just completely covered, not want to take the benefit of this nectar? It's nectar. You become nectar you become what you drink, right? You drink nectar, you'll be nectar. Everybody understand those points?
Yeah.
It's difficult. Okay, just so we never get tired of hearing, because the minute we do, as your Maharaj says, oh, there should be a problem. If I'm detecting I'm not enthusiastic, I should be checking to see what's wrong. Okay, now we have wonderful comparisons. Direct. Friend. Companion. Teacher.
Teacher.
Wealth.
Wealth.
Deliverer. Good fortune.
dear companion,
O my teacher,
O my teacher,
O my greatest wealth,
O my greatest wealth,
O my deliverer,
O my deliverer,
O my good fortune,
O my good fortune,
O my bliss.
O my bliss.
I offer my heartfelt obeisances.
I offer my heartfelt obeisances unto you.
And the last one we're going to get what we find so often in the Isopanishads, comparisons, right? Compare and contrast. That's another essay type, all right? Here we're going to compare saintliness with unsaintly, and uplifter with
Very fallen.
and we're going to make a prayer.
Please
No,
don't come in.
And we're going to request that the Lord
Manifest
appear in two places.
my heart,
Accompanied by
Krishna
Prem. Right, Krishna Prem. That's the attitude we want, love of God. Actually, unless something is done with the attitude of love, it's really not bhakti. It pretty much boils down to that. And it's all we can give. Krishna owns everything, right? Whatever material assets we might have in our possession. He's the intelligence in man. Okay? So what's left? Your attitude of love. And that's bhakti. If one offers me a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, with love and devotion, I will accept it. He doesn't have to accept anything. He's got it all, right? The only thing he's looking for is that loving attitude. So that is what we heard in the nectar instruction. Attitude is the most important. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, you
means throat.
throat. Yeah, when you speak. Right.
My heart and
Your throat, yeah, that's right. Okay. O Srimad Bhagavatam.
O Srimad Bhagavatam.
Giver of saintliness.
O giver of saintliness,
Unsaintly.
to the unsaintly,
O lifter of the very fallen.
O uplifter of the very fallen,
Please don't ever leave me.
please don't ever leave me.
Please become manifest in my heart.
Please become manifest in my heart
And
and my throat,
accompanied by Krishna Prem.
accompanied by Krishna Prem.
And you see here the importance is of preaching. Because he's not just saying, please become manifest in my heart. That means you're just keeping it for yourself. But if he says in my throat, that must mean you're going to share it with somebody else. And then you really get the benefit. Right? You really get the benefit. And I heard Prabhupada say something very sweet. I was listening to a lecture the other day. He said, why does Krishna come to this world? He comes, Pavitranaya Sadhunam, Vinashaya Tamasukam. He said, he comes to give, pastime service to devotees. He comes to destroy the miscreants. He said, doesn't it make sense that his servants should want to engage in that same practice? Right? That we should be there to try to help, not that we're going to try to walk around and destroy miscreants, that's not our business, but at least to give information and pleasure. That's the mission of Krishna. So I thought that was really, he said, why wouldn't the servants do that? That's what we're here for. I thought it was a nice point.
To assist him. To assist.
Yes, if we're the servant, and that's why the Lord comes, wouldn't it make sense that we should be doing that to assist him in his mission? And that's why Lord Chaitanya is so special, because that's his wholehearted mission. 100%. Okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
I always like to share points on this in Prabhupada's lectures, and there'll be 25, 30 points that you couldn't imagine how many people had. Okay, so you all may put your papers over here. You can collect everything. Then we'll get our magic slates out so we can do the breakdowns for the two books, the Bhagavatam as well as the Isopanishad. We'll work parallel on those. So let's do the Bhagavatam breakdown first according to our charts, and then we'll do the Isopanishad one, and we'll work back and forth, so parallel tracks. L.
Krishna Lila.
Right, Krishna.
Krishna Lila.
Krishna Lila.
Lila.
Yeah, this is not Lord Kapila backwards. We talked about that. This is Krishna Lila. I always like to tell that story about one lady who, I think it was the lady who actually gave Krishna Prabhupada money for passage to America. And she said to someone, oh, Prabhupada would read to me every day about the pastimes with the gopis. And from none of that. Prabhupada didn't have that mood. It wasn't Prabhupada's mood, you know. And so Prabhupada asked him, and he said, no, I was reading to her from the first 4 chapters of the 3rd canto. It's Uddhava recollecting that. So it's in there, you know, but not in detail. But that was what she sort of remembered. Because in India, everybody thinks, oh, Krishna pastimes of the gopis. Everything else is really unimportant compared to that. So that was what Prabhupada explained. No, that's what I was reading from my 3rd canto. So Krishna Lila, we're going to hear about that. And do you remember what the numbers were?
1 to 4.
1 to 4. Yeah, 4 chapters about Krishna Lila. In Vrindavan and out of Vrindavan. Okay. And then the next section.
Creation.
Creation. Right. We had that in the 2nd canto also. Okay, we've got it here. Creation. Creation was in the 3rd part of the 2nd canto. The 2nd part of the 3rd canto, we flip it. Creation, this is very detailed. Lord Brahma's creation. And do you remember this one is going from 5
to 12.
5 to 12, yes. 5 to 12. Between 5 to 12, you see on your chart. So 1 to 4 is what?
Krishna
Krishna Lila. Right, the first 4 chapters are essentially, there's some other discussion. Krishna Lila. And then, from 5 to 12, what are we going to hear about?
Creation.
Yes, this is the secondary creation, Brahma. Brahma's creation. Now from 13 to how much?
19.
19, right. And remember, 19 was the division in the first canto, 19 footmarks. What do we hear about here?
Varaha.
Right, Varaha. Right, the Varaha Lila. Appearance of Lord Varaha. And also, we'll hear about so much in this. The pastime of flying the Jai, falling, and then the battle between Varaha and Hiranyaksha. Okay? So let's put this in a different format now. We'll just put 3 dots. This is something else we're going to talk about at the retreat. It's called reformatting. You take the same information, it's like looking at a jewel from different angles. You check it from different angles, it helps you get it clear. Because maybe one angle is clearer to you than another. Or maybe one angle is clearer to this person than that person. So if you show something from different angles, Prabhupada said, it's another thing we'll be talking about. Everything should be examined from different angles of vision, not just one way. Check it out this way, that way, that way. So you have a complete understanding of the topic. So this is called reformatting, right? Before we did circles, now we're just going to put a line with dots. And over this we're going to put what?
The numbers.
K-L. For what? What's K-L for?
Krishna.
Right. And the next one? What's this one?
Creation.
C for?
Creation.
Creation. And what's the last one going to be?
Varaha.
Right. Varaha. Okay. Krishna Lila?
Creation. Varaha.
All right. This is helping us get our minds clear. Big picture from the air. It's the whole topic. 33 chapters, just reading straight through will probably be a little bit confusing. You may not be able to orient yourself, but now you know. And what are the numbers that go with Krishna?
1 to 4.
1 to 4. What about creation?
5 to 12.
And what about Raharupa?
13 to 19.
Okay, so take a minute, refresh, right? Erase it, do it for yourself one more time. Because you can say something what's in front of you. And now let's see if you can put it in front of So do what we just had on our slates. Erase your slate. Okay, erase your numbers and write it again. 3 dots, look at the codes, look at the numbers. That way it's your own check. Another term we're going to use is you monitor. You monitor your own comprehension. You check yourself. This is the best way to do it. If you just look at it and you say, yes, I know it, you're not really sure until it's gone. And then you can recall it. Yes, I know. How many were able to recall it? You were able?
Yeah.
All right. Now, one more step to make it even more impression is turn around, erase it again, and be like, we're going to be talking about transcendental dialogues in the program. You have a speaker and you have a hearer, a speaker and a listener. So there were dialogues between Parikshit and Shukadeva, and between Sutta and Shanika, right? And between Narada and Vyasa. The whole Bhagavatam is dialogue. The Gita is between Arjuna and Krishna. So now you're all going to be transcendental speakers and listeners. Okay? So turn around and enlighten your neighbors. Turn around and you're going to be speakers. Because this is actually what's happening. What's happening. Okay? So you have a speaker and a listener here. This is Prabhupada's verse, and Narayani's verse, we're just taking something and reformatting it. That's all we do. I take other information and I present it in a simplified fashion. Because that's a teaching skill. Make it simple enough. How did you do, Madhya? Did you remember it? What's your good name? Did you remember what we did? Do it? Okay. All right. That's all right. If you practice with that, it will be fine. And he's got the cards, Shalila, Creation, and Maramika in this section. Okay. All right. Now let's turn our charts over and let's get the last 2 parts. Okay. We're going to put just 2 dots. Because the last part has 2 major divisions. So you can flip your map over. And here we have the name Devahuti twice. Devahuti Manji, right? Devahuti is such a great soul. To have Krishna as her son. All right? And she just didn't want someone like Krishna. She got Krishna. She got Sila, her son. Okay, so first we have Kardama and Devahuti. So first we hear about her marriage. And then Kardama's renunciation, because once he has provided her with a son to take care of her, then he renounces. So the second part, she's just not an ordinary woman. She wants to be enlightened. So Lord Kapila speaks the Sankhya philosophy to her. So we have Lord Kapila, LK, not Krishna Lila now, this is LK. Lord Kapila and Devahuti. So these are the 2, but her name comes up twice. So we're going to hear about her throughout the second part of the 3rd. So you got the 2, Kardama Muni and Devahuti. And Lord Kapila and Devahuti. All right. Now, let us remember we ended with 19 in our last section. So we will begin with 20. 24 to 24. Again. This is 5. 24 then brings us to what? 25. Yes.
25.
25, canto 3, from the 25th chapter until what?
33.
33. Now you know the last number. This is, you can see, it's such a large section. 9 chapters. And Sankhya philosophy. Very heavy also. Description, much of it sounds like 5th canto. Adverse reactions, trigger reactions, so the hellish planets. The description of the child in the womb. Very, very graphic. Actually, we're blessed because without the Bhagavatam, we would be just seeing the world the way the rest of the world sees it. We wouldn't see it through the eyes of Shastra. And we would be completely under the illusory energy, the grips. You know, just today actually, I heard someone say, oh, someone had a baby. And the baby's going to be a great explorer and daring and altruistic. And I thought, but will he be a devotee? Because if he's not, all those other things will be finished with death. And the Bhagavatam said, what is the most important thing to do? Remember Krishna at the time. So if one isn't cultivating bhakti and his relationship with Krishna, he's actually missed the mission of the human form. We're so fortunate. You know, like I thought, oh, everybody was, yeah, that's nice, but will there be any development of his bhakti? Not. All the other things are zero at the end. So we're fortunate because we hear these things. We hear about this in the Bible, and we don't get some romantic idea of the material energy, which is deadly, isn't it? And then when the person is always going to be daring, I thought, yeah, Prabhupada said death, danger at every step. A bunch of devotees smart. No, wait a minute, I'm not going to take it on. You know, we're fortunate. We see through Shastra. That's why you have to know Shastra. Because if you don't know Shastra, you'll see through the material covering. And you won't see beyond birth and death. Only Shastra. Remember what it said the Bhagavatam gives people? Spiritual vision. Not just vision. Your material senses will mislead you. He said you'll be directed by senses that will mislead you and an intelligence that's based on speculation. What hope is there between those two things? You're speculating and you're driven by your senses. It's terrifying. So we have those two sections now. AD 20 to 24, LKD 25 to 33. Erase it, do it for yourself first. And then transcendental dialogue with your study partner. First, if you can read the facts. Okay, and you can hold it up to see if you were able to remember the numbers. 24, 25 to the end is 30. Lord Kapila, and this is Kardama, first one, Vibhuti. Then he leaves, and her son then enlightens her in Sankhya philosophy, chapters 25 to 30. And then you can turn around and have a transcendental dialogue with your partner. Shakti, what did you tell me what you learned? Let's take another, let's do a quick look now at all the chapter titles really fast, and we'll play a quick game on this one. Because if you hear the title now, it should help you find the section. Okay?
Okay.
Ready? Because everybody likes to test this.
Yes.
This recall. All right. If you look at your first section, you have questions by Madhura. And then you have remembrance of Lord Krishna. Okay?
Yeah.
Number 2. And then you have, so we have, right, the Lord's pastimes out of Vrindavan. And then you have Madhura approaches Maitreya. So in this canto we're having, now the dialogue is between Madhura and Maitreya. Prior to this, it's been between Sutta Goswami and Shantanu, the sages of Navashranya, or Parikshit and Sukadeva. So you have many dialogues going on, so you have to keep them straight, who's where. But the most important thing is the philosophical point, because you can get a little lost. And of course, we've had Narada and Vyas, and you have Narada throughout the okay. All right, so take a look at the first one. The first one is questions by Madhura. And the next one is remembrance of Lord Krishna. And then we're going to hear about his pastimes out of Vrindavan. That's number 3. And number 4 is Madhura approaches Maitreya. Okay, get out your slate and put the number on it. We only have 4 now. This won't be too hard. Okay? All right, I'm going to read a title. You can't look at your chart. Take a look one more time. You see, for some people, it's a little threatening. She feels a little scared. Yeah. But you can see how devotees, it becomes natural. You know it. I always say passive means static and active means ecstatic. You see devotees become ecstatic when they fall, right? Okay, here you go. On your slate, write a number from 1 to 4.
Yeah, 1 to 4.
The Lord's pastimes out of Vrindavan. Out of Vrindavan. What number will you put? There, we got somebody back there. He's listening. He's really monitoring the camera. Did you all write 3? Yes. Right, it's 3. It's 3. How about questions by Madhura? 1. Yes. And how about Madhura approaches Maitreya? 4. So you answering the questions. Do you have your slate out? You can follow where we are. Yeah, we're on side 1. Oh, she's got that. Oh, you don't have a map. Maybe you can get a chart for okay, what about remembrance of Lord Krishna? What's that one? 2. Yeah, I think we've gone through all of them. This is so sweet. Actually, Buddha was just, tears are flowing when he thinks about these pastimes. He's really missing Krishna. You're a little familiar with the titles and these so forth. Okay, let's do the next 4. We've got 8. We'll just do 4 at a time. Now, chapter 5, Madhura talks with Maitreya. Yes, Madhura talks with Maitreya. That's number 5. And number 6 is creation of the universal form. That's 6. 7, Madhura's going to ask more questions. 7 is further inquiries by Madhura. So we got Madhura mentioned a lot here. And number 8 is a really important one. Manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So let's go through that again. Maduras, talk, and we slip in the what? Universal form. At 6. Number 7, further inquiries. Yeah, but Madura is asking more questions. He has a whole list. He's got a whole list of things he wants to know. And then number 8, manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodaksha Vishnu. We're going to go fast on this. Just have fun. Don't worry about it. All right? Don't look at your chart and get your slate and put your, don't cheat. Okay, here's the title. Manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodaksha Vishnu. What chapter is that?
8.
Yeah, just write it. That's good. 8. And you're going to become very conversant. Because what happens is now you become curious to know more. Isn't that true?
Yes.
I want to know more about this. 8. All right, what's this one? Maduras talks with Maitreya. Remember the number?
Yes. 5.
5. Yes, it starts with Maitreya. Now, what about the universal form? 6. Yes, that comes in right after that. And then the only one left is further inquiries by Maitreya. 7. Okay, let's do the next four really fast. Let's do this 4 at a time. Yeah. Okay, now in 9, Brahma prays. Prays for creative. Yeah, he needs help. So in 9 he prays. 10. Now we're going to hear about the divisions of the creation. And in 11, we're going to hear about just the creation. Oh, calculation. Time for the atom. Yeah, I was wondering what okay, that's another heading. Time. Yeah, this is a very amazing chapter for the time of an atom, all the way up to the full lifetime of Vishnu. Right? Calculation of time, starting with the atom. Time, number 11. And number 12 is guess who?
Creation of
Creation of Mars and others. Yes. So we got these. And so first of all, we have Brahma's praying. He's going to pray. And then we're going to hear about the divisions in 10. Time in 11. And the Kumaras in 12. Let's go backwards. 12 Kumaras. 11 time. 10 divisions. And 9 Brahma. Okay, put on your slate now the little title. You write the number really fast. Calculation of time from the other. 11. Whoa, that's good. Now you guys are good. Hanuman Swami would be very happy.
Then you should come here.
Yeah, all right, he'd be very happy. Oh, that's chapter 11 of Canto. Very good, very good. I think your Maharaj should be happy with this too, right? Because he believes in studying Bible Jump thoroughly. Okay, what about this one? Creation of the 4 Kumaras. 12. Golly, this is too good. What about Brahma's prayer? 9. Oh, this is too easy. Come on, we gotta make it harder. What about divisions of the creation? 10. Okay, getting pretty fast here. She looks a little lost, but don't worry. These people have been geared up for quite some time. All right, let's go. We've got the next 4. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. Okay. We'll try it out. Yeah. This one, even though it's 7, that's good. Beyond 7, it's good. So number 13, remember this is the new section, the appearance of Brahma. All right, so we have to enter the story. Then we have to hear about, pregnancy of Diti in the evening. Now the plot thickens. We have the demon taking birth. Okay? Varaha comes for reason to kill a big demon. So in 13 he appears. In 14 we hear about the birth of the demon. In 15 now we're taken to the history behind this demon. So we hear about the description of the kingdom of God. Why do we hear about that? Jai and Vijay are up there. See, the whole thing is tied together. And so we go sort of forwards and backwards. We hear, now this demon gets born in this one, but we hear about what happened, why did he take birth, the demon? So we hear about the description of the kingdom of God, that's Vaikuntha. And then in 16 we hear about doorkeepers, Jai and John. They were Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. These two twin brothers. Diti produced two demons. And then in 17, the battle starts, right? Well, first of all, before the battle, Hiranyaksha takes over the universe. Right? His brother did the same thing. Then we have the battle. We have Hiranyaksha's name 3 times. So first he takes control. In 18, the battle starts. And in 19, he's killed. Okay? First he takes over. Then Varaha fights with him. 18. And then in 19, what does he do? He kills him. So that's 3 easy ones there. So first Varaha appears in what? 13. Then 14, the demon. 18. And then we have to hear about why the history. 15 and 16, the history. First we hear about the kingdom of God, and then we hear about the doorkeepers being cursed by the 4 Kumaras. There was a mention of the 4 Kumaras. Okay, ready for your quick quiz? Yes. Okay, this is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, you know, we're gonna have to record and send this to Hanuman Swami, right? We'll send him a Look at the little one, he's really into it too. All right, is he writing his numbers nicely? He's writing his numbers too. All right. Are we ready? Yes. The appearance of Lord Varaha.
13.
Yeah. 13. 13. Okay, appearance of Lord Varaha 13. What about Hiranyaksha conquers the universe? Yeah, victory, Hiranyaksha. 17. Directions. 17. The last 3, 17. All right. What about pregnancy of DT in the evening? 14. Oh, this is too good. Come on, you guys. This is getting too good. What about description of the kingdom of God? 15. All right. What about the battle between Hiranyaksha? 18. All right. Really good. The 2 doorkeepers are being cursed by the 16. Very good. That's before 17, right? And how about, yes, the healing of the demon? 19. I think that's it. You got them all. Too good. We'll save more for later. Okay? Let us now go to our iPads. Go to the iPads. We're going to do the breakdown of the Isopanishad.
हॉस्पिस में याद कर देते हॉस्पिस में कितने
Switch computers here, back and forth, just to keep everybody awake. I hope you're all alive and well. You okay? And just think now, I bet you can go from 1 to 19 if you tried.
1% is dying.
Chapter 1, questions by Madura. Right? Remembrance of Lord
Cancel
Krishna.
last season. Calling for Kirtan.
Right? The Lord's pastimes after Vrindavan. Madura approaches Maitreya. I bet you could do it. You think about it. Try to do that at home tonight. Can you all try that? See if you can go from 1 to 19.
Okay.
Take your chart out while you're having dinner. Put it up in front of you. Practice. Put it up on the mirror. Whenever you look in the mirror, you'll see. Oh, this is what I see.
I never look at mirror.
You never look at the mirror. Well, put tilak on. You know, you have to put your tilak like this. Okay. Just give it a try. Everybody set now? We're going to open up now our computers to ISO, Isopanishad. Okay? We're going to go go through this fast so we can hear more about Bhagavatam. Isopanishad. And we saw in our study guide, we made one circle in the middle, and how many parts were there?
6.
Wow, you guys are really scholars. There were 6 parts. There were 6 parts to the Isopanishad, according to the study guide. Okay. So the first part, do you remember the first part?
Introduction.
We put I for, we had 3 I's here. I for
Introduction.
I for introduction, and we had I for
Invocation.
1, 2, 3.
They know too much. Were you here for that one?
Yeah.
You were here too. They remembered. This is good. Is it not good? I had this sort of very short memory. They're doing better than you. Isopanishad, introduction, invocation. Okay? What was next? Remember? Mahabhagavat. Yeah, Mahabhagavat. And what's after Mahabhagavat? Compare and yes, compare and the cultivation. Cultivation. What do we cultivate in life? Do we cultivate meshes or do we cultivate knowledge? Most people are cultivating what? Meshes. Knowledge. Prabhupada said knowledge means I know I'm eternally a servant of Krishna. I'm a spirit soul. And I'm not this body. If you're operating on the other premise, it's a faulty premise. It's like trying to do math when you say 1 + 1 is 3. Doesn't work. The whole material world's on a false formula. I'm this body and I'm God. You're not this body. You're part and parcel of God, and your business is to serve Him constitutionally. It's part of answer to the body. So, M is the Mahabhagavat, and the next one is cultivation, cultivation of knowledge, comparing the two. And the next one is we're going to compare what? Remember? Yes, we're going to compare the relative with the absolute. R and A. Relative and absolute. Absolute. That's why Krishna is so difficult for people to understand, because he's simultaneously one and different. What Chaitanya said, Chincha Veda Veda Tattva. He didn't make that up. That's always been a fact. Krishna inconceivably encompasses everything. So he's absolute. That's why he can be a butter thief and still be adorable. You know, somebody else is a butter thief and you're in trouble. Because you're on the relative platform. He can dance with gopis at night, and it's glorious. Somebody else do that? He's in trouble. So Krishna encompasses everything. He's absolute. There's no duality there. For us, there's duality. It's starting to get hot, right? Before, last week, it was what? It was cold. That's duality. And then something may be good or bad, or you're happy or you're unhappy. That's all it is down here, duality. But Krishna's absolute. So we're going to compare the relative and the absolute. And then the last one, what do we hear? Prayer. Because this is the jiva now who wants to move away from a personal understanding to a personal understanding of the Lord. Okay? Got those 7? And 6, I'm sorry. Let us put the numbers with those. Your first one was introduction, right? That's just the introduction. There are no chapters there, right? That's introduction. Your next one, invocation, and 3 verses. 1 to 3. Invocation, Om Pranam Ad Purnam. Plus
3 verses.
Verses 1 through 3. Everybody got that one? Your next one was also, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't I. This next one is Mahabhagavat. And that is 4 to 8. 4 to 8. Mahabhagavat. how he sees others, and he's realized also. Okay. Then we're going to have the next one. We're going to compare the cultivation of nescience and knowledge. And that's from 9 to 11. 9 to 11, odd numbers here. And you'll see these slokas start out. Now, we have the next section, cultivation of relative, and comparing relative with the absolute. Krishna's absolute. Whatever he does, it's good. He's all good. And the more one becomes advanced, that's why no matter what happens, he knows that Krishna's doing the right thing. For the overall picture, we just have a tiny little pencil particle perception of reality. Like the little ant. His world is very small. Compared to Brahma, we're about like that. Or less, right? Brahma lives so long and he has the whole creation to be aware of. And we have our own little world and our little room and our little minds. Ever see a little bug struggling? Right? His field of awareness is so small. Compared to demigods, we're like little bugs. We don't get very wrong. Our awareness is very small. So this is the real, this is why Krishna has the right to do whatever he wants. Because he has to take the whole picture into account. Just like a teacher has to worry about every little child or parent, all the children. You have to take everybody into account. You can't say, well, you don't count, just you count. No, you have to take, so whatever's going on, Krishna's taking care of everybody. And he's inside as the best guide and friend. So if you click into him, you've got a good connection. Right? That's why we remember him. You've got the best friend, longest lasting friend, eternal. And it's a good connection, and he's your friend. Okay? And what's our last section now?
Prayer.
Prayers. And where will we find those?
15 to 18.
15 to 18. 15 to 18.
prayers.
I'm going to take a moment now to read the Isopanishad. We're just going to hear the slokas. Okay? I'm going to try. I have never made mind maps on this, and I've been so busy with other projects that I would like to do what I do here. That's pick one word. So we'll go through this and we'll pick one word, and then we'll see if you can remember. Now the whole introduction is very amazing because here Prabhupada is establishing the importance of Vedic evidence. Right? Vedic evidence over sense perception and inference, mental speculation. So this is why we refer to Shastra, because Vedic evidence is infallible. The other kinds of evidence are subject to mistakes. So that's basically what's in our introduction. And then also that we have 4 defects. We all know those defects?
Yeah.
Right? We make mistakes, illusion, and cheat. We have imperfect senses. So we're not really have a good operating instrument to come up with that, with perfect knowledge. Okay, but that's the essence of this. And he gives many examples of why the Vedas are authoritative. In the retreat, we're going to show people that there are 3 ways to develop a topic. Same thing. Number 1, scriptural authority. You see, Prabhupada does it all the time. You read a purport, he gives you some scriptural reference. Second thing, direct perception. To some degree that works. It's not infallible, but to some degree, that's why Prabhupada gives analogies. Because people can understand an analogy. Oh yes, a lotus leaf. The water rolls off. Something practical that I can see. And then the last one is hypothesis. This is not really scientific, but to some degree, logic, inference, it will work. you see the dead body and a living body, you have to infer, oh, there's a difference, right? You may not have the ultimate answer, but always scriptural authority must be followed. Today's class stressed that. Did you hear the class this morning? How many heard the class this morning? He was saying that if you're practicing devotional service, you must follow the Shastra. Otherwise, you'll create havoc for yourself and others. So that's why the whole world's in chaos. Because they're not following, the rules are set down to let you know what's going to work. If you don't, it creates a problem. So when we're writing or speaking, we should A, refer to Shastra. We can use practical examples, analogies, right? Similes, right? So people can understand on a practical level. And we can even use logic. Logic is important. There are still some other, there are 3 other, I've heard from Kundadatta, the Sanskrit scholars, and there's still 3 other kinds of evidence. But these 3 are the most principal ones, and scriptural authority is the final word. If the other 2 aren't good, always fall back on scriptural authority. Okay, now in the invocation, you all have a book to look at. You have a book to look at? Either the photocopy version or your own little Isopanishad, and you can look at it with somebody else. There are 2 words that I would say are keywords, and they are perfect and complete. They come up all the time, I think about 6 times. Personal Godhead is perfect and complete, and because He's completely perfect, this world is perfectly equipped as a complete whole. Complete. Whatever is produced in a complete whole is also complete in itself. Because He's the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from Him, He remains the complete balance. Complete, perfect. That's God. Right? That's a good definition. Didn't leave any room for doubt. So complete and perfect are your what? Signal words. Complete and perfect. That's your invocation. All right, let us now turn to page, the mantra 1. I think the key word here is quota for us. There are 2 important points. The important point is Ishavasya. Everything is owned by the Lord and controlled by the Lord. As in the Sanskrit, it would be Ishavasya. But for us, we have to know the word quota. And quota doesn't mean just things. Quota means like, on book distribution, you have a quota. You have to bring in so many, sell so many books. So in the human form of life, it's an obligation. You're given a form, you have to fulfill it, or you don't get it again. That's why I'm telling you, if you have books and you don't study them, you misuse the opulence. Next life you may not get the chance. You get the point? You're so strict, right? He's not going to waste time on us. That's why we're trying to study these books. What if next lifetime you say, oh, well, next life. I've heard everybody, oh, next lifetime will be that. Yeah, right. He's going to waste another chance if you didn't take it. The material energy doesn't do that. If you misuse an opulence, it's taken away. So this is why we have to study. To show Krishna we're trying. Don't take it away. Did you hear it? What does he say in this? Bhagavatam, don't what?
Waste your time.
No. In the prayer.
Don't ever leave.
Don't leave me.
Oh, don't ever.
Why did he say that? Don't ever leave me. Would you like to go around this world without these books now?
No.
Would you like to do that? No way. So take advantage of them. Don't just let them sit there. So here, I think your word is quota. It doesn't mean I'm only allowed to have 2 chapatis a day. It can mean that. And if you take more than your share, next lifetime what happens? It's scarcity, yes. If you take too much, more than it's your bare necessities. You have to have 35 pairs of shoes. I read that the Queen of England, first Queen Elizabeth, had 3,000 dresses, embroidered with pearls and jewels. So how long would you have to live to wear them once? You think the next lifetime she had 3,000 again? I doubt it. And I think it was somebody like somebody in some jeweler in the Philippines. His wife had something like 300 pairs of shoes. Marcos's wife. How can you wear 300 pairs of shoes unless you're changing them every minute? So that's the point. Is your quota is yes, you are restricted to quantity, but you also have it. You have a quota to fulfill in the human form of life. So quota. Okay, text one. Is this helping everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because if you pick out the key word, we're going to talk about this in the retreat. Take a lot of material, boil it down to a key word or a few. Our first one was complete and perfect. Quota. Let's look for number 2. Mantra 2. One may aspire to live for 100 years if you continue working in that way. That work will not bind you to the law of karma. How about karma? Karma. Yes, the law of karma. You're bound by karma. You take too much, right? Or you don't fulfill the mission, the quota of human life.
Then you
That's
expect
it. Karma, nature's laws are stringent. They act no matter who you are. You can be the prime minister, you can be a pauper. Doesn't matter. That's why the devotee's merciful. He's not impressed. Oh, I met the prime minister. Yeah, right. What's he going to be in his next life? Without this knowledge, you won't be the prime minister forever. Right? Karma for number 2. Let's go to text 3. Let us now see if we can boil this down. This is what you call active reading. And it will be ecstatic reading. Look at the nectar. The killer of the soul, whoever makes it, must enter into the planets and the world of the faithless, world of darkness and ignorance. So we would have to say killer. Aha, killer of yourself, the soul. That's mentioned in the Bible. A person who is the killer of his own soul. Killer. Number 3. Let's look to mantra 4 now. Page 33 in my book. Okay? And if we have photocopies of this older version. Here we find what we call paradox. 2 opposite things seem impossible. This is coming up in our retreat too. We're going to talk about paradox. This is a device that's used in drama. Paradox. Things that seem unbelievable or opposite, impossible. So this seems impossible. He's fixed in his abode, right? He's swift within a mind, but he can overcome all others running. Now how can he be fixed and running at the same time? The power of demigods cannot approach him. Although he's in one place, he controls those who supply the errand rate, so he's controlling them. And he surpasses all in excellence. So we get strange contradictions here. He's fixed in his abode, but he's running all over the place. And even the demigods can't approach him, but in one place, he can control them. He surpasses all in excellence. Perhaps the word would be surpasses. He surpasses in every way. All in excellence. You agree with that, Shakti? Krishna is surpassing everybody. Good. Shall we try number 5? In my book, number 5 is on page 37.
Yeah, 37.
Okay. Oh, this is a perfect paradox. This is perfect. In fact, I was going to use this in my book. I chose another one. I chose another sloka. I can't remember which one. We chose another one.
And Bhagavad Gita also 30 chapter.
Yeah, you have so many like this. Yeah, Bhagavad Gita talking about super soul. Bhagavatam. So many times. Krishna. He's in Goloka, but he's in the heart. You know, he's everywhere. In the atom, I chose that one. I can't remember what the reference was for that. I was going to use this one, but in any event. The Supreme Lord walks, but he's far away, but he's within everything
And outside.
So here you've got three sets of comparisons. Within, without. I think that's proper, or near or far. Near or far. You got comparisons, near and far, opposites. He's near and far, he's within and outside, and he walks and doesn't walk. So you have three sets of comparisons. I like near and far. Even the Christians will say, the Lord is nearer than your hands and feet. That means he's here. Your hands and feet are at the extreme, but the Lord is nearer than your hands and feet. It's a nice saying. The Lord is nearer than your hands. That's Hanuman, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Hanuman. 6 on page 43. Okay. On the last one, it's a little tough, but I put far and near. Those two, yeah. Because he's outside and inside of it. As for our... Okay, here's an important one. He who sees everything in relation to the Lord. And he sees that all living entities are his parts and parcels. He sees the Lord within everything. Then what will be the result?
Never
He
hates.
never hates
Anything or
anything or anything. This is also similar to some verses in the Gita. You will not degrade yourself by your mind if you see this way. One who sees the Lord in everything and everyone, he will not degrade himself by his mind. Because your mind will degrade you the minute you don't see Krishna in relationship to something or someone. You have to. Envy will set in. Envy. But you don't have that when you see it this way. So, perhaps the word sees. How do we see vision? See. How do we see it? Okay? That's all I can go to for number 6. 6 and see.
yeah, 6.
6 and see. All right, let us go to number 7. One who always hears the word sees again. He sees all living entities as spiritual sparks. Now philosophically, he knows in quality one with the knower, one with the Lord. This person becomes a true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety? So here's the result of what you see that way. If you see that way, you won't be in illusion and you won't really be in anxiety. So I think the word sparks
Yeah, spiritual sparks.
is unusual. It's different. Sparks for number 7. 7 sparks. Sparks. How do you see? Last one, you see the Lord in everyone, but now you understand more. You know that everybody's in quality like the Lord. Okay. Let's go to number 8. Is this helping everybody? These numbers are very good. Go on. Now we go to a higher level of understanding. This is the Mahabharata, right? Such a person must factually know the greatest of all, the personality of God, who is unembodied, omniscient, beyond reproach, without veins, pure, uncontaminated, the self-sufficient philosopher, who's been fulfilling everyone's desire since time immemorial. Well, which word is hard to say? Maybe greatest? Personality of God. Here he's being introduced now. Right? At this point, the Lord, we know, personality of Godhead. And this is describing him as unembodied, omniscient, without veins, pure. And he's not only that, he fulfills everybody's desire. So this is number 8. Now Krishna is being, we know, now this is the Lord. We know that all living entities are part and parcel of him. The hearing is now we're getting a description of him. Let's go to number 9. Number 9. Remember, this is another section, 9 to 11. We're going to compare Neshans and those who engage in the culture of Neshan activities shall enter into the darkest region of ignorance. Worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called knowledge. It's actually the worst thing is to be giving people Neshans in the name of knowledge. That's very dangerous. I heard this morning in class, he said, scriptural, one who quotes scriptural without application. Yeah, he said to quote scripture without application is poison. Yeah.
What?
To know and quote scripture without application is poison.
Poison.
Very dangerous. Very dangerous. That's why you have to live, you have to know this. Yeah, without knowledge, without application, scriptural knowledge, without person, because you kept talking about you have to practice what you preach. So here, if people are engaged in even proponents of so-called knowledge, that's very bad. Okay, so here we would have Neshans. Or perhaps culture. Culture, because we're cultivating culture. What are we going to culture? Are we going to cultivate Neshans or knowledge?
Cultivate.
Cultivate culture. Our culture means that, like culture. They do it in a test tube in the laboratory. They'll put sugar in something and it'll culture, yeah, right. Okay, and now 10, we're going to hear about those people who can tell the difference. The wise have explained that one result is derived from the culture of knowledge, a different result is obtained from the culture of Neshan. So the key word would be result. What's the difference? Does it matter? Yes, there's a different result. If I cultivate knowledge, I get one result. If I cultivate Neshans, I get a different result. That's 10. And I think we'll stop at that because we want to read Bhagavatam. We'll leave some more slokas for later. Nice, huh? It's a great book. It's a great book. So take out now your... I tell you, once you get started on these books, it's almost like there's never enough time. You find that? So now we'll find the summaries here. My book starts on page 36. Endurance meeting with 36. Oh, yeah, we're talking about the Tibetans first.
Yes, 36.
Beg your pardon? Yes, his meeting was put up in Maitreya. And this one goes for I'll read, and when I stop, you fill in. You're all using your flute hands. Okay, ready? We'll end with Bhagavatam nectar. Here we go. After hearing how Shukadeva Goswami had described the Lord's creation of the manifest universe as Shanika Rishi requested to narrate how Vidura had come to leave home, and later on received instructions from Atara Rishi. In reply, Sutta Goswami related these topics to the sages of, just as Shukadeva Goswami had narrated them to. After the Pandavas returned from exile, Dhritarashtra had invited Yudhishthira for consultation and later had advised his elder brother as follows. You should now return the rightful share of the kingdom to Yudhishthira, for he has undergone great suffering on account of your offenses. Surely you are afraid of the vengeful and Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, who has accepted the Pandavas as his kinsmen. You are maintaining personified Duryodhana as your son, and because he is envious of Krishna, you have become devoid of all auspiciousness. You should relieve yourself of this at once, and thus do good for your entire family. These are heavy words. Now guess what's going to happen to him for talking this way? He's going to be thrown out. Duryodhana was present along with his younger brother and his maternal aunt, uncle. His lips quivering in anger, Duryodhana replied, "Who asked this son of a kept mistress to come here? He's so crude that he spies on those under whose protection he grew up, so that he can favor the enemy. Throw him out of the palace at once, leaving him only with his parents." Whoa. That's heavy. The juror is going to get tossed out of the palace. Being pierced through the ears by these wordy arrows, the juror's heart certainly became afflicted. Above and beyond this, though, the juror considered such an act of the external to be Lord Krishna's merciful way of detaching him from the diplomatic intrigues of palace life. The juror was never attracted by royal his brother, and he was always prepared to leave home to fully devote himself to the service of the Lord. Now when Vidura saw the arrival of his golden opportunity, he appreciated how the supreme energy of the Lord, although acting externally toward Duryodhana, was acting internally to help him. For this reason, Vidura was not at all sorry. He actually thanked Duryodhana within his heart as he placed his bow at the door and then quickly embarked upon a pilgrim's journey. Of course, Vidura could have directly approached Lord Krishna at Dwarka, but being a humble Vaishnava, he considered himself to be contaminated by Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana's association, knowing that one cannot be 100% devoted to the Lord unless freed from all sinful reactions. The juror considered himself to be unfit for the Lord's association. For this reason, he decided to visit the holy places of pilgrimage so that he could become purified and thus come nearer to the Lord. With his mind fixed upon Lord Krishna, the juror traveled to many of the tirthas, including Ayodhya, Dwarka, and Mathura. And while doing so, he dressed as a mendicant without caring for his body, so that he would not be recognized by anyone, not even his relatives. Just a little paragraph. At Prabhas, Vidura heard about the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty, and thereafter he proceeded westward along the banks of the river Saraswati. At last, after passing through the kingdoms of Shurashatra, Samira, Matsya, and Kurujangala, Vidura arrived at the river Yamuna. There he happened to meet Uddhava, who was Lord Krishna's cousin and constant companion, and a former student of Brihaspati. So he meets him there. Vidura embraced Uddhava with great affection, and then asked for news about Krishna, Balaram, and the other Yadavas, the Pandavas, and Kunti. He did not inquire about Dhritarashtra's welfare, for he knew that there could be only news of his gliding down toward hell. Vidura already knew that the Yadus were no longer in this world, but due to the shock of having heard this news at Prabhas, he wanted to hear about it once more from Uddhava. Vidura also requested Uddhava to speak about the glories of Lord Krishna, because the Lord had appeared on the earth simply for the welfare and understanding of all people. Oh, it's too exciting. It's like a big drama. On TV, you watch these soap operas. So now we're going to kindly request that you all carefully pack your own things in your own bags. And whatever materials you have that belong to our group in general, that we collect those nicely. We have a very sweet little flight attendant to bring your fruit platter. You know, a lot of it's time for your part of your seva. Your seva has started.
Already done a lot.
And we have some nice gift calendars for those of you who didn't get one last time. So of course I have.